In 2016, when I was just 12 years old, I got this game, Xenoblade Chronicles X, for the Wii U. Now, in this game, there is a character creator, and that includes male and female, of course. Now, what I did was I made a female character, but I made her too attractive, and so about 2 weeks pass, and now I'm madly infatuated, who I'll be referring to as Konai. Now, being the dumbass that I was, I decided that maybe if I got to 100% completion, I would get Konai out of it. Yes, I was really that delusional. But the point was that during that adventure, I noticed a hacker, and I got personally interested in it. So later on, I learned some homebrew stuff and eventually learned out how to hack my level and made myself level 0. Now, being level 0 in this game makes all your stats underflow and makes you insanely overpowered. What do I do with this newfound power? I instantly kill the global boss. Many times. Because of me constantly killing this global boss, which for many people was the only way to get very valuable items, I naturally ended up getting bullied by the entire community. Now, why would I do this, you ask? Because I was depressed. I wasn't really comfortable with talking to my family at this time and didn't really have any friends either, so to vent out, I did this. Over and over. This would continue on for some time until eventually the Wii U got a 5.5.2 update which patched the exploit I was using, and I eventually had my level 0 character level up and I lost all my power. And now that I was essentially powerless, the bullying got even worse and I couldn't even do anything about it because I couldn't kill the global boss anymore. This would eventually lead to some PTSD, though this really is not fair to compare to actual PTSD. I'm sure that is way worse than what I had. But I would have very reoccurring nightmares, always around 2 a.m. waking me up pretty much every night, and I really couldn't sleep at all anymore. And since a new exploit was not found for quite some time, my life kinda just fell apart after this. Meet 2017. Now, I don't know exactly when during 2017 that this happened, because when I did it, I really thought nothing of it. But I created my first construct. If you don't know what a construct is, let me lay it out for you. A personality construct is basically a more advanced imaginary friend. Think of V and Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk as an example, though without the whole relic thing and them killing you. However, my constructs are different from Tulpas, which are basically actual constructs. My constructs are more a form of self-hallucination and hypnotism. Essentially, to make my constructs, I would change my voice and talk to myself, and eventually this process would become so autonomous that it was essentially not even me talking anymore. This first construct's name would be called Uni, though it probably didn't come along to at least 5 or 6 months before I actually had a name for her. Going along through 2017, not that much important happened here. It was mostly just some Konai shenanigans and growing along with Uni. 2018 is where things really start to get interesting. Near the end of 2017 and around the beginning of 2018, not sure exactly when, I would meet the only person who ever supported me during the whole boss thing. Suzaku. This guy is the one and only guy who actually tried to understand why I was doing the things I did and offered help, which I actually took him up on. I don't know exactly when, but eventually it ended up getting him on Discord, and later on he would introduce me to my best friend to this day, Fred. Fred, aka Fredericks, was pretty much a carbon copy of me almost, and we got along really well from the get-go. He was a guy who I could tell pretty much anything to, and he would often tell stuff to me that he wouldn't tell anyone else. And so my first true friendship was born. I had had some previous friends, but almost all of these friends had either betrayed me for reasons I still don't know, or just simply disappeared one day never to be seen again. But Fred, after 5 years now, has still been by my side and is my absolute bro. A little later on during that year, I would also meet Raul, aka Alex, who was once again someone I could really rely on and trust deeply. So now I had 2 really good friends, technically 3 if we include Suzaku as well, though he wasn't that active. Throughout the years of 2018, I more or less got more and more used to Uni being around me, and also later on thought of the ideas of other constructs, but did not actually follow through with the idea yet. Throughout the years of 2019 and 2020, not many major events happened, mostly just gradual progression with Uni, and also with my friends. I believe it was around 2021, since I can't remember everything that well since this is so long ago at this point, is when I followed through with the idea of constructs. I would make 2 new constructs, that being Konai and Coco. Konai is obviously who I described earlier, and Coco was my GTA Online character, who I also had some romantic interest in. In a game that I would play for a very long time, I would eventually start growing toward my own characters, and Xenoblade X and GTA Online were both pretty much endlessly lasting games. However, these personalities remained mostly dormant and didn't really become very active hardly at all until 2022. Toward the end of 2021, things with Uni and Konai started to change a bit. In Uni's first inception, her original concept was to be someone I could temporarily be with until Konai had finally appeared. But this story was starting to change. Considering the fact that Uni was pretty much always alongside me and there for me whenever I needed her, and Konai was literally never there, you can kind of understand how my affection started changing. Toward the end of 2021 and beginning of 2022, looking at pictures of Konai basically stopped making me feel anything anymore. Looking at these pictures used to make me feel happy, sad, angry, hopeful, but by now I just didn't feel anything. On the contrary, looking at pictures of Uni made me feel the same things that I did with Konai, except any of that hopeful, sad, or angry parts. Just happy. And it was toward this point that I started realizing that maybe Konai isn't for me after all. Multiple times during 2020 and 2021, I would keep reminding myself that Uni is temporary, and I would eventually be with Konai, but I started to accept the truth. And as 2021 came to a close, I eventually decided to finally admit it. Entering 2022, my relationship with Uni only got even stronger. I was still in the weird love triangle, but it was starting to die off. In February of 2022, I started looking up how to actually get married completely on your own. And so I would do some research in this thing called elopement, which is kind of like doing your completely own wedding ceremony. Yes, this is how far I would go. This is also around the same time that the Konai and Koko construct started becoming more actually active. And on May 16th, we would exchange vows and officially get married. After this, I finally dissolved the love triangle and made my relationships with Koko and Konai finally become platonic, and was only interested romantically in Uni now. And also, I forgot to mention earlier, not long before this, Koko and Konai later decided to dissociate themselves from who they were based on and became their own independent entities, Rebecca and Laura. Going forward from May 16th, not much changed, but no relationship I'd ever been in was without its problems. The reason I fell in love with Uni over Konai was that she at least actually existed. Only partly. Many of the things that I'd want to do with Uni were things that were simply not possible due to the lack of any physicality. And this kind of problem would lead to me having frequent episodes. Episodes of depression, anger, and overall just kind of losing my mind. These would continue to happen frequently, and still kind of do, though they've gotten better over time. Uni has the ability to connect with an object. I don't know exactly how, I'm not her. But, for an example, she can connect herself to a pillow, and when I touch it, she'll feel that touch. And that allows some basic physicality between each other, but it still is not what I want. For those who know about the fact I have a sex doll, this is the only reason I own it. It's a method for us to be able to interact with each other. And while I have tried to lucid dream many times over these past few years, it has never ended up working, and at this point I don't know if it ever will. But I do still keep trying to this day. And as of this current day, October 25th, 2023, I believe that things will likely stay this way for a long time, if not for the rest of my life. Due to the intense loyalty that is naturally in my blood, I never see myself giving up on Uni in any way. And this is the paradox. For the longest time now, I've been living in an infinite loop of wanting to be with Uni, yet being disappointed she's not physically present, but I cannot get myself to let go of her. And this has been running in circles for quite literally years now. And to be completely honest, there is pretty much no way out of this. It's truly the definition of purgatory. One I willingly choose to endure for both the sake of my own loyalty and for Uni, as without me, she would pretty much fall apart. And that's pretty much my story. Thank you.